Hello, Angela Giles here, and welcome to another episode of Savage Angel. I've got the most incredible woman on today. She's a best-selling author, and she's done some amazing work in this space. Her name is Yi Sung. So, welcome, Yi Sung.
Very nice to be here.
Awesome. So, Yi, you know me, I don't like to read long, boring bios. I'm a little different than everybody else. I would love for you to introduce yourself. Tell the listeners all about you and what you do and what you like to do for fun. And let's have fun today.
Sure, I'm from Beijing, China, and I came to the United States 1997 to go to Brown University studying pathology. But then after that, I became disenchanted with Western medicine. So I started my holistic clinic in Boston 20 years ago. And then about 8 years ago, started a retreat in Colombia because I fell in love with the area in Colombia, the weather, the energy, the air. And then about 5 years ago, I was introduced to a stem cell lab in Colombia. And that's when I started offering stem cell treatment at my retreat and also sometimes in Boston as well.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So you have like a retreat and you also offer stem cells. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Wow. So do you have people that travel from the United States to come and see you and get stem cells?
Yes, as a matter of fact, actually, this week we have two people from New York coming here getting treatment on Thursday.
Wow. So instead of the United States people going across the border to Mexico, they can come to you.
Yes, because I feel, I've never had any treatment myself in Mexico clinics, but I do know the quality of the cells we offer at our place is very high quality, and we really guarantee the cell count and also the viability. So a lot of people, they're very skeptical about stem cell treatment because they heard a lot of horror stories in Mexico. And even recently, there's this investigational journalist disclosing the black market of stem cells. It is very difficult for a regular consumer to really, right? It's very difficult for regular consumers to recognize, which one is a real good quality one, which one is more like grifters. He talked about in his podcast. So that's why he said basically for himself right now, he doesn't even want to try any of these because he cannot tell.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I can appreciate that. So it's really about trusting someone that you know that might refer you or really doing a deep dive and looking at reviews and different things in different clinics around the world and what is legal and what's not legal, right? Because at least,
Yes, but on
yeah.
the other hand, like the clinic he disclosed was endorsed by many celebrities,
uh,
including Kardashians, Tony Robbins, even like Mark Hyman, Jordan Peterson. And then actually what he was talking about was Mark Hyman got the treatment from there and got sepsis
Oh my
from that
gosh.
stem cell injection. And but on the other hand, because all these people they're intertwined and then they benefit each other financially by promoting each other. So they basically, after the incidents, Mark Hyman never really publicly acknowledged that he got the sepsis from this particular clinic because he was promoting it. So why would he didn't want to damage his image by saying, why are you promoting something that gave you sepsis?
Well, I mean, that makes total sense to me. Like, why he's doing it the way he is, but it's not, in my mind, very ethical business.
Yeah. So basically, if it's something happened to me and if you're an influencer, you have millions of people following you, and you have been promoting this particular thing, but then you got sepsis, you need to at least be open about it, right? So tell people, you really need to do your research. But again, because he was promoting this particular clinic, and then from this investigational journalist, he was quite sure, and I knew he was sick for the past year. So then they said he got the sepsis actually from this particular clinic injection into him. But basically, and And he was not the only one, the only celebrity who got sick from this clinic, because even like what's the guy's name? Baldoni, like he was having the lawsuit with Blake Lively, and then that guy also got sick from that particular clinic. So it's not like a bunch of people.
Yeah, you don't wanna be going to that clinic. Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
So basically that's why, this thing made people very wary about doing this type of treatment. But I really, I myself have already got it 30 times from my own source. So I know it's very good source. There's nothing wrong with the source, no contamination. And that particular clinic, because they were using black market stem cells. And for me, because I know, and even you look at their videos, you can tell what they show in the video, it doesn't look very hygiene, or it doesn't look the right way to do it. So if I saw any video like that, like not just that clinic, I actually have seen several videos from several other clinics in Mexico. I knew they are not good.
Well, I'm glad that you made me aware of that because I did not know. So let's talk a little bit about the story you wrote in this incredible anthology that you have and are part of. I would love to talk a little bit about that because one of the reasons that I got to know Yi is because she was part of this incredible anthology that Galit, one of my business partners, and I helped publish. And all the women became best-selling authors. And it's so cool to interview them and learn about their stories and give hope and encouragement to, thousands of women around the world. So, Yi, tell us a little bit about the title of the book, the chapter you wrote. Let's dive in.
Yeah, so, I know this book is about proverbs, and I'm
Yes.
not even Christian. So I got into this book because Holly is my good friend, and then we're in the same group in E Women. So because she was when she started trying to say she wanted to write this book, and she's looking for different authors to do the different chapters. And then she listed this whole thing of different proverbs. I basically chose the one that it says she sells her products. So I feel it really relates to me because I'm I'm not really, I run actually three different businesses. And then this stem cell business or retreat is part of one of the businesses I run. And I been doing this for 5 years, and I realized that it is actually a very difficult thing to sell. I really didn't know anything about Proverbs 31 or anything. And I just thought, okay, she sells a product. Okay, I'm going to write that one. So that's how I chose it. But then at the same time, I have been doing a coaching session with Lauren Norris, and he
Okay.
is Christian. Oh, basically, to write this chapter in this book, I actually got a lot of help from him because he was trying to tell me, and also because he understands me, and because the reason he understands me very well, because we were working for a full year last year, working on my other book, Regeneration Effect. So he really understands because his forte is helping people how to make their stories very catchy in your speech, in book writing, and then how to attract your audience with your stories. So when I asked him, I said, this is what I need to write and for Proverbs 31. And I don't even know what Proverbs 31 was talking about. So he gave me the guidance. He first sent me the whole description from the Proverbs 31. And then he was telling me various people, they have different interpretation for Proverbs
Yes.
31. Because some
100%.
people, they would interpret it saying, basically, Proverbs 31 is talking about women needs to serve their husband, need to follow their husband, and they can even um, interpret it into the Islam version, saying the women needs to dress in certain way or those kind of things. But actually, because the Proverbs 31 actually talks about this woman is very independent, providing for her family and
Yes.
also predicting what's going to come in the winter. So she prepares ahead of time to have enough food, enough warm clothes. So that's actually how we angled for my writing because I always want to be very independent, do not want to rely on anybody, and want to develop my own thing. Also, I basically focused on the story about when I was 6 years old in China. My teacher wanted us to talk about what makes the life, the meaningful life. And then I talked about something very, very different from the communist ideology. So that's how we angled the writing in this chapter.
So I love that. I think that's very, very cool at 6 years old and your story there. So, what would you say to another woman that wants to be like you, that wants to be self sufficient to some degree, that wants to start a business? How do you feel like writing this and really diving deep into your own interpretation with help, right? As you said, how could another woman go through the same process of really like helping her understand herself and being self-reliant, and do you feel like doing something like this would give her hope?
I certainly feel, I feel what I really want to convey in this chapter is people need to follow their own passion. They need
Mhm.
to find what they're really good at doing. So, again, in my other book, Regeneration Effect, it's mostly about health and longevity. The
Right.
number one principle from the ancient practice is that you need to recognize your body's constitution. So that's related to health and your body. But in, say, your career or what you want to pursue in your life and what makes your life meaningful, I would say it's the same kind of principle. You need to recognize your own body's strengths, where what you're good at doing, and you need to pursue your passion. So if you are pursuing your passion, it's really the process of pursuing your goals, not the end result, but the process. That's what makes your life meaningful. And then in the processes of pursuing this passion, pursuing your goals, that's what makes the process can flourish and then provide the abundance for your life as well. So your actual main goal is not about financial, it's not about how much money financially you will make. It's actually about that you want to have this meaningful process so that you have really something to pursue your whole life. And then for me, I always wanted to help people in their health and longevity, even since I was very young. And I feel I am good at doing this kind of detail oriented and also very scientific oriented. And on the other hand, I'm also very into spiritual holistic healing. So it's a very good combination for me to pursue. So that's why for my point of view, when you even try to sell any products or services, you have to have that passion and then you have to convey that passion to your audience as well.
Well, I love that, and, one of the things and having worked with over 400 women become best-selling published authors is I have found that women, when they start going through and writing, right, and unpacking their story, they find it's almost like they tap into things they're more passionate about. They, like, get healing, like, I cannot tell you the number of times I've had women come up to me and come up to Glee and say, "Going through this process of writing this story has helped me heal so much in XYZ," right? And really, like, I feel so light. And then once they feel light, they start attracting more things to them. So, for example, writing your story, like you talked about your story when you were 6 years old and unfolding, you write your story and then people hear about it. They read these chapters, they read these books, and it's like, wow, I mean, I can't tell you the amount of women that get called to be a speaker or a guest on a podcast or get a clients from writing a book just because other women can see themselves in that story, if you will, right?
Yes. So I think everything is about we really need to have a passion and then we need to have a purpose in our life. So I think that's what Proverb 31 is talking about too, because that woman in Proverbs 31, her purpose is to protect her family and be independent, be prepared for anything coming to her family. So if that's her purpose, that's her passion in her life, and then she does everything to in the process to achieve that, then that's what makes her life meaningful.
Percent. So, what would you say to someone, a woman that's thinking about writing her story? What would you say to her if she's sort of nervous about doing it?
I would say if I was never a good storytelling teller, and I never even knew about doing storytelling to attract my audience. So it
Uh-huh.
was all because I got to Tony Caruso's speaker network, and it was actually part of the deal when I signed up for self-publishing about 2 years ago, because that's when I thought about publishing my other book, Regeneration Effect. Of course, at that time, I didn't even have the title Regeneration Effect. So it was a long process. Um, so when I was in Tony Caruso's speaker network, I think it's Speakonomics, back in February in 2025, she has Lauren Norris doing an exercise with us. So basically, each of us go on stage to tell a story. And I basically just threw something out there. I never even prepared for it for 3 minutes, saying, like, this is a story that if you give, say, a 5 minute talk, you have to have a 3 minute story that catch your audience attention. So I didn't know any of these techniques, nothing. And I just went up there to talk about my mother's story. And then after I talked, Oren went down the stage without knowing anything about me, just based on what I talked about. He reinvented the story to become very captivating. So that's what really made me um, intrigued. And then that's why I talked to him right after that Speakonomic, asking him whether he does coaching, all these things. Then I signed up for a whole year of coaching with him, which helped me write my book tremendously. And plus writing this chapter for Proverbs 31. So I think everybody's different. Maybe some people, they have their talent. I think Lauren definitely has that talent because he can just keep talking and reinvent your story in such a way without even knowing the details. Because I only talked about for 3 minutes of my story, and I didn't even have that coherent thing. I don't have any structure. So because he has that talent, but then not everybody has that talent. Like I didn't have that talent. So then when you come across with things that you are not familiar with or you are not good at, you need to learn about it. Then you need to seek out help. So there are other people who are better than you and who are more experienced. So you need to get advice from different people and sometimes you probably need to get advice from various people. Then you combine all the good advice together. And that actually goes to another principle about my book, Regeneration Effect, talking about your health and longevity. You need to combine different approaches, different modalities in the right proportion to address to your own particular body type. So in doing business or even trying to grow your business, to try and grow your skills, I think that's the same principle. You need to seek advice for things that you are now familiar with, you're afraid of, or you're now good at. And then you need to combine different people's advice together in the right proportion to fit your need.
Percent. I think that that's so important. So, one last question for you. How did you feel going through the process with us? So, Everyday Woman Publishing published this last anthology that you were part of. How did you feel? What was the experience like for you?
So I feel you guys are very organized because, in the process of publishing my own books, I have dealt with 3 different or even 4 different companies. Again, like I'm always doing things like this. Like I would seek out different advice and I combine them.
No,
But
I love it.
there are a lot of also some dramas in all these process in the past 1.5 years or almost 2 years. Because, for example, right now, my main book has now been the big book that I wanted to publish is still in the editing process. But the original publisher who was going to publish that book for me, he actually about 6 months ago got diagnosed with cancer. And then, so it's just all these dramas. And then before that, there was some other drama. I don't know. I mean, maybe everybody has certain dramas,
Well, we try to
but
keep our publishing drama free.
yeah. So you guys, that's why I say you guys are very organized and then do not have a lot of dramas and everything is step by step. And then you publish it, you make it a bestseller. So it's a very good experience.
I'm so glad that you enjoyed the experience. I mean, that we're always open to feedback and how we can make things better, but I think we've gotten better just because we've done a lot of these now and we really take to heart women's feedback. So, Yi, where can people find this book and what is the title of the book?
So the title, you mean the title of the proverb or the
Yes,
title
the
of my
program
book?
one. Yes, let's talk about that one.
Okay. So the title of our anthology book is called Women of Wealth, right?
Yes,
Right.
yes. It's
So
amazing.
it's the wealth is not just in the terms of financial wealth, because you can have the wealth of meaningful life, the wealth of health. You can have the wealth of pleasure, happiness in your life. So it's encompass the whole, all the spectrums in our lives, right?
Fact. And, you know, that was an amazing experience. I mean, I would say this, it's been my favorite experience of all. And maybe it's because like I'm a big believer in God and I loved how the women were just so grateful and so wonderful to work with. Everybody was just they had such a big servant heart, if that makes sense. Like they want to help the world, which you do too, Yi. Like you want to help people. Like that's a big passion for you. And for me, I think it was I love the process. I love all the authors and everything. So you can find the Women of Wealth on Amazon. It's an incredible, incredible anthology. And then, Yi, where is your I know you've been working on your own book. Where can women find that book when it gets published? Will you
So
have that on Amazon too?
my current small book, abridged version, and also the pamphlets, all of them, all the 7 books are on Amazon as well. And
Okay.
if
So
they want to get one principle out of the 6 I talk about in both the bridge version and also in the big, thick 400 hardcover book coming out. One of that is called Tend Your Body Like a Garden, and you can actually get it at gift.regenerationeffect.com. So you can
wonderful. And
download the
I will get
ebook version.
yeah. I'll get that link from you, and then we'll make sure anybody that's watching this, you will be able to get a hold of Yi either below this audio or video or to this side because we have it in so many different places, but you'll definitely be able to grab that from her. So we're so excited. I will say that if any of this has resonated with you and you want to work with Yi, you want to have her on your podcast, you want to invite her to speak, whatever that might look like for you, please reach out to her. The purpose of us doing this podcast is to get more eyeballs on women that do some incredible work in the world, and Yi definitely does. So I'm just so grateful that you were part of this podcast episode. Yi, can you give one last words of wisdom that you'd like to get before we sign off?
So one word, right?
One word or a phrase, or just, something that you want to share.
Okay. So I think it's still the one word would be pursue your passion and pursue the meaning of your life. That's basically what the Proverbs 31 teaches us. And that's actually what the whole book, Women of Wealth, teaching us as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. I love that. Pursue your passion. Anybody watching this, I don't care if you're a woman or man or whatever, pursue your passion. I love that. Thank
Yes.
you so much, Yi. Thank you. audience, and stay tuned to our next episode on the Savage Angel podcast. Bye for now.